The Dropout, universally positive. Or this is both an initial and second chance review because the first episode I felt didn't really like it was good, but it didn't end like properly for me. So I decided to watch the second episode. Uh, anyway, universally positive ratings for the original series. I watched it on Disney Plus. Amanda Seyfried. I don't know if Kate McKinnon is in or not. Delmanette, William H. Macy, Navian Andrews, Stephen Fry, Alan Ruck, Michael Ironside, Marilyn Raskub, Laurie Metcalf. Even after watching the second episode, I just didn't like it. But Amanda's performance is fantastic. Final review, dopesick. It's good. I feel like that most people who watch it, they sort of take it as a political message of that capitalism is bad because it's capitalism's fault that all this happened. And yeah, it is true that this wouldn't have happened under communism or some other system that isn't capitalism. But that doesn't mean that, we need to get rid of capitalism because it's. I'm getting off track, but it's not a good system, but it's the best system that we have. I don't really have much else to say about it, but it is great, and it is what the Dropout should have been more like. Final review, the mick. It's great. It's like a watered down version of Shameless. Like that. Honestly, that's what it feels like to me. But the only person I would watch it was my dad, and he doesn't like Shameless. The like if you like Shameless or if you like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, give this a watch. Um, really the only complaint that I have with it is like the amount of blood that the characters lose. Like it's, I guess it's not supposed to be realistic, but with the amount that they lose, like it's just not funny anymore. Like if main character had blood coming right out of, like pouring out of her neck, like that scene in Evil Dead 2. And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. And she didn't immediately pass out, but the fact that she's still alive after all that, and she's lost a lot of blood before and after that, like, just not, not possible. It's just immersion rating, I guess. But the performances of everyone in this is great, especially the child. Just like, I can't imagine being however old that child is and having to say all the stuff that he says. Twitter as of 19 to 8 p.m. on Saturday, the 28th of May 2022. Excuse my brother trying to explain what Evil Dead is to his mates in the background. Because, these people were born in like 2008, and other than the show, there hasn't been an Evil Dead film for 16 years at the time that they were born. And just anything that is old in air quotes, is just never heard of it before, despite how massive Evil Dead is and the influence that it's had. Anyway, why is trans trending? I didn't even know we were allowed to say trans because I said trans and Alford said, no, the way you say trans sounds quite transphobic. Don't consider the tone in which this, or not the tone, don't consider the way I say things. It's just, I can't really help it. I say trans because I can't say transgender. I either say it too quickly or too slowly, so that it sounds like I'm saying like transgender or transgender instead of like at a normal pace. But why? Attorney General says schools do not have to accommodate children's gender wishes. Yes. Thank you, Attorney General. You are based. You are correct. Time for a British school strike. Trans kids do not have to accommodate transphobic crap. That's not. It's not transphobic. Do you think that, like, say 5-year-old boys are too stupid to think, I can say that I identify as a woman, and they have to allow me to use the women's bathroom, and then he's gonna spy on the women in the women's bathroom. He's gonna be a perv. Like, 5-year-olds may be stupid, but they're smart enough to do that. That's why. Why are you going to Cruella? Oh, hashtag the great 16 hours ago that no one else is talking about. Right, just because. Jesus Christ. Just because schools do not have to appeal to the wishes of children when it comes to their gender identity does not mean that trans kids are under attack. Like, if a P1 says to the teacher that they identify as a woman, right, and they are a boy, but they say they identify as a woman, even the school do not have to do anything because it's up to them. It's not up to you. You should not force the schools to do anything. Whether the schools treat a trans child as trans or cis or whatever is up to them. Yous are not coming out of this looking like the good guys. Why is Black Adam standing? We have any trailer or something? I haven't seen any trailers. Released on June 6th. I don't watch trailers for anything really, so I'm not gonna wait around for it. I'm just gonna watch the movie. New World Order. Why? New Order talks suicide prevention, the mark anniversary of Ian Curtis' death. Okay, by New Order I thought they meant New World Order, but I'm guessing New Order is some sort of band. Okay. Okay, I want to see what the Game of Thrones characters look like in books. I haven't read the books in a while. You know, the book versions of Arya and Sansa do look quite alike. You know, that makes sense. Not much has changed between Book Ned and Show Ned. Yeah, Jon Snow's only like 14 in the books. Yeah, and Daenerys is 13. Like, that's obviously something that had to change because of, all that. I haven't read any. I don't think I've read anything in the books that has to do with Tyrion yet. So I don't know if like the book actually describes Tyrion like a woman, because he looks like a woman there. That's great. Look at that, more arguments that were happening as I was making my video yesterday. I mean, that is the usual place to find roadkill. Imagine admitting it. I think most videos is going to be loading. That'll actually probably be a good thing. Not really, but you suggesting you can't possibly be a wrong'un because MSN said I was one isn't compelling, is it, considering MSN's lack of relationship with the truth? I would say it was, but you can keep believing everything from the paper like a good little boy. Just because it says stuff you don't like doesn't mean it's wrong. It's not always 100% accurate, but that's where being an informed consumer with multiple sources helps. Just because it says stuff you like doesn't mean it's right. Who do you think would know better, a literal intelligence service or the Guardian? Yeah, dead animals almost as important as the alt-right. You're just getting like name calling at this point. Huh. You boys are worse than dead animals. Prove me wrong, conservatard. Anyway. Oh, this should be a laugh. I love doing this. What does alt-right mean? Let's see if you can be the first leftist to get the answer right. Define leftists, because that ain't me. Well, then what are you? I'll ask you first, give me the actual definition of alt-right. If you deflect again, I'm just going to assume you can't answer, and that's another point for me. Alt-right covers more media-savvy parts of the harder edges of right-aligned ideology, so who use ideas like great replacement to try and cover up the racism and nationalistic views. Great replacement, that sounds a bit similar to the group, what was it, Great Reset or something like that, something reset, you know, the oh, I forget their name now. Crap. Yeah, the Great Reset by the World Economic Forum. The Great Reset is something that the media tries to deny is happening, to say that people who believe it are the type of people that also believe that the earth is flat and the moon landing was faked, when the people of the World Economic Forum have literally said that it exists. And the Great Reset is basically the meme of you will own nothing and be happy. Because all the World Economic Forum does is they will watch a movie, like a dystopian movie, for example, Minority Report. Take all the ideas from it that make it dystopian, like that scene where Tom Cruise walks into a shop and all the billboards start saying, "Hello, Tom Cruise, you look thirsty. You look like you should get a haircut," stuff like that. And then make it a reality. Like there is literally, I don't know if it's been built or anything, but they want to build this sort of laser that will track you, tell you when you enter a shop, and its purpose is more to spy on you. They'll say that it's for social distancing reasons and all that, and you'll stop the spread of corona, make it more accurate and stuff like that. But really, it's just spy on you. Anyway. Fascinating. I don't recall ever advocating for that theory whatsoever. But instead of giving you the bastardized version that the media use of alt-right, which ends up covering about 90% of the whole right wing, making the term redundant in the actual definition used by the literal alt-right themselves is ethno-nationalism. That's their primary goal. That's what they advocate for. Replacement theory, etc. all falls into that. Now, this is where you provide any evidence of me advocating for such things. Basically, the alt-right don't want to, for the most part, don't want to kill all the black people. They just want to kick them out of the country. So, the alt-rights idea for what Britain should be is, on my chair, is 100% white. Take all the Asians, put them in Asia. So that Asia is 100% Asian. Take all the black people, put them in Africa. So that Africa is 100% black. Just all separate. That's all right's idea, and that's one of clear. That's not something I believe, because no progress can be made that way. Not that there's much progress that needs to be done. It's the part where you provide any evidence being advocating for any of these things. A literal intelligence agency couldn't, but maybe you can. Or you could be very honest and just say that it's a buzzword phrase guys like you blurt out to due to Pavlovian conditioning. Although, wait, I've already said that. As for the off-right views, now what about the lib-right views? Depending on meeting the definition, both would fit alt-right. Some racists like authoritarianism, Trumpists. Libertarians just hate the government, in addition to people who are different. Should say, I don't mean all libertarians. Wait a minute, you say that everyone who likes Trump, and even right-wing libertarians fall in the category of alt-right? If all Trump supporters are racist, then yes. Not all Trump supporters are racist. I'll give you an example of a Trump supporter who isn't racist. Jack. I didn't say me because I'm not a supporter of Trump. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's much better than Biden, Clinton, Kamala, AOC, Bernie, Bill, anyone else. But he is a communist, and I've proven it multiple times. And I'm happy to prove it again if anyone asks. But don't confuse Republicans with all being Trumpists. Not everyone who voted for him did so because they agreed with everything. Excuse my brother playing the piano in the background. But you don't know what alt-right is. You just said that libertarians are alt-right. Libertarianism is literally the opposite of alt-right. My guy, I know that having an ego can make someone stubborn, but good God, just admit you don't know what alt-right means. You can't. It is blasphemy in the leftist church to say something that isn't the alt-right. An abbreviation of alternative right is loosely connected far-right, like white nationalist movement. Whenever you ask them what it means to throw out so many vague things that every single person on the right would fall into, making the term alt-right completely redundant. Just say right-wing then, same difference. You're ignoring the racism part unless you're projecting and saying anyone right is centered on social, economic, or any other scales races. The alt-right encapsulates a range of different ideologies centered around racial lines. No, it actually doesn't. That was the expanded upon definition that the media bastardized and weaponized. Let me explain what actually happened. In 2014, a bunch of notable right-wingers got fed up with right-wing TM and decided to break off from the mainstream right. The movement pretty much died and people left, but it attracted a lot of ethno-nationalists, which eventually joins, but at this point, Carlton's there's no normal right-wing members left. Pretty much no one has any clue who the alt-right even are at this point. They're nobodies. Yeah, Paul used to be part of the alt-right, but then he found out who Richard Spencer was and his views, because Richard Spencer is apparently the leader of the alt-right, and Paul's actually said, no, I highly disagree with this man, so I'm not alt-right. Then Trump gets elected, and here comes the infamous Heil Trump video. People start to say, who is this Richard Spencer, and who is this alt-right group behind the video? Then they identify themselves as alt-right, say they're ethno-nationalists, say their goal is either a white nation or at least segregation, the right state. This, and identify who they are clear as day. Even check articles from 2015-16 to see for yourself. So now everyone has it in their head that the alt-right are essentially Nazis under another name. That's what the papers print, that's what people say, and so the association people build in their heads around the phrase alt-right. Now, there's a thing that is very useful when it comes to poisoning the well and influencing people with misinformation, something called term association, something leftists have used massively over the last few years. Yuri Bezmenov goes into great detail. What leftists did is build up the alt-right equals Nazi in everyone's head, then very slowly but surely start to expand the definition so that instead of only ethno-nationalists, alt-right ends up meaning pretty much anyone with average right-wing views. What does this achieve, I hear you ask? Well, with term association, as soon as you say alt-right, people instantly think Nazi, and now the term alt-right has been expanded to include pretty much every single right-winger and centrist. And at this point, even people who are on the left, like me, because I'm not far left. But anyway, you can call all right-wingers alt-right. And when you do, it makes everyone think that right-winger is a Nazi, and even if they check to see if they are or not, they'll be checking the new and improved definition of alt-right, which means every single right-winger, ergo all right-wingers are Nazis. It's an extremely effective tool to get you to demonize an entire political group, used by every maniac and despot from Hitler to Pol Pot, and you fell for it. Congratulations. You are not immune to propaganda. I don't need propaganda to let me know the racists aren't right, but we're not racist. I'm okay with people on the right, though. Not too keen on the authoritarian and libertarian extremes, but I can understand those views. Come on. Minus the racism. Okay, it's nice and all, but can you address the point, which was you don't actually know what alt-right means, and you're using the term incorrectly, since I'm literally a member of the Libertarian Party, meaning one of the furthest things from it. You have a specific meaning in your head for alt-right, fine, but a lot of biases in there and lack of understanding about meaning for usage. No, he doesn't have a definition in his head, he has the definition in his head, the definition that isn't something that was purposely created in order to call all non-far leftists alt-right. I don't think the belongings of alt-right were as racially agnostic as you do. No, I have the literal meaning of the alt-right. You have the bastardized version used as a tool to label literally every single right-winger. And that's so you don't have to engage with their ideas. Even factual evidence doesn't shift you. Best and when awful is right. You cannot change their mind. Even if you expose them to authentic information, you still cannot change their basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, for these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. Bruh, he did. For people who scream so much about the right wing, you would think they would know even a tiny little bit about it. Both choosing to apply that furrow without waiting for an answer, I see, and tell me again how the whole MAGA isn't nationalism with a dollop of racism. Sorry, we were busy laughing at you calling libertarians alt-right, so it's any form of nationalism at all alt-right is wanting to improve your country, MAGA alt-right. So many things are alt-right these days, it's so hard to keep up. You guys keep changing the rules. I've write a book full of hate speech and I'm arrested because of my action. I've not been arrested for writing a book. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. I tell a joke full of hate speech and I'm not arrested because of my action. No. I've not been arrested for telling a joke. Yes, you have. The joke component isn't relevant. How's that good taste? Excuse me, Lord Sir John of R. While you were busy moving that goalpost, you dropped your dunce hat. The Underground folks are going to be very upset when they find out what kind of effect the cops won't do crap to protect your message will have. Bill Maher may identify as a liberal, but he prides himself in just asking questions a lot, which sounds especially like GOP talking points. I've heard some of the stuff that Bill Maher said, and like him questioning stuff makes him a liberal. It's you far left twats that don't ask questions and just take things as face value. Oh, this person died because of racism. Oh, this person must have died because of racism. Meanwhile, liberals who are open-minded actually think, why did this man actually die? Oh, look at that. It was a person of the same race that killed him. So that's not racism. We finally arrived at the asking questions is bad actually stage. Yeah, exactly. Although, it's actually a good thing. Because now, any essays we do, any bloody exams, we can just say the exam board, you are far right for asking me how The Handmaid's Tale is a feminist story. I can remember my days as a bouncer. I saw so many fights happening. Never broke them up though. I might have got punched. Bro, with Scots do crap early. You're like 22. You're talking like, I remember when I was a bouncer at 11. He turns 35 this year. I'm pretty sure he's in his 30s. What? Have you seen his balls? Only a 20-something boy's balls. That's moving and amazing. What are you talking about? Okay. Why am I on Twitter? Like, what do you mean? You compliment his balls like they're a work of art? They look dirty. Why are your balls on Twitter? How do you not know if his balls are on Twitter? Because Mama didn't raise no bitch. r/white people Twitter. The more I think about it, the more I realize being lazy is not a real thing. People are chronically ill, disabled, mentally ill, overworked, exhausted, but lazy isn't even really a thing. It's no attempt to shame people in the capitalist productivity. What? So let me get this straight. Me being too lazy to take this can that I've had here for a couple of hours and being... So, if I'm too lazy to bring this can downstairs and throw it in the recycle bin, that's me being mentally ill or something. That laziness isn't... I don't even know at this point, but my point is that laziness is a thing. Like, I am a very lazy person, and that's not a good thing. I don't really have an excuse for being lazy. It's not due to mental illness or being overworked or anything like that. I am overworked, but it's no excuse to do stuff like putting the rubbish in the rubbish bin. r/anti-work. Or not trying to say laziness doesn't even exist. It's one of the funniest Reddits. 10% of it is people with genuine problems and awful bosses. The other 90% is clearly fake stories about awful bosses or people that dropped out of school and developed no marketable skills. Excuse me, saying they should be getting £50 an hour. Are people that resent the fact that they actually have to work at all. Also, laziness absolutely does exist. I think I've pulled that screw that at least 5 times today. People really do be selling goats on Craigslist.